As video editors, sometimes we're not going to have access to the original project file or even the original media. Sometimes you'll be handed a finished video in its MOV or MP4 format, and you'll be asked to make changes to that. Now, the issue with working with a finished piece of media like that is that you're going to have to bring it into your timeline and cut up all the individual clips within that finished media so that you can then select each one and change it however you want. Now, this used to be a very time-consuming task, but thankfully DaVinci has a really cool feature called scene cut detection that we can use to analyze our footage and make those cuts for us. This is a game-changing feature and is something that has saved me so much time in my editing workflow, so I'm excited to share this with you guys today. So let's jump into DaVinci. I'll show you guys how I do it. So up here in my media storage, I've located a video that I edited a while back. It is a 60-second video that I made for DJI. It consists of probably about 15 to 20 different clips in a 60-second time span. And what I can do is right-click on this clip and select scene cut detection. Now, before I do this, I just want to make sure that I have the area open down here in my media pool that I actually want to import those clips into. So in this case, I don't want to import it into this folder because this is a random folder within our big project file that we've just imported. So I'll go back to my master, and you can see that I've actually created a separate folder here called DJI. So let's import everything into this folder. Now, if you want to make a new folder, you can simply just hit Command-Shift-N, which is the shortcut as well in Finder on Mac as well to create new folders, and you can name it whatever you want. You can also just right click and select new bin, which will make a new bin or folder. So let's open up that DJI folder here. So now with that folder selected, we can go up to our clip, we can right click and select scene cut detection. Now we are presented with the scene detect interface here, and this is where we're going to be able to see where DaVinci thinks that it should make cuts in our clip. So the first thing we can do is just go down here and select Auto Scene Detect. Now it's going to analyze our clip and start making these green lines wherever it thinks that the clip needs to be cut. Now, in this case, I would say this is a pretty easy situation for it because all of these are pretty hard cuts. You know, it goes from one environment to a completely different one. It's pretty obvious. Now, the length of the green lines here is the confidence that DaVinci has in its selection of where it should make cuts. We could see at the beginning here, this first one, it wasn't 100% confident here, and there's two areas that it thinks it could have cut. So we could just move the playhead over top of that, and we can see that that first little green line is not accurate. That's not actually where the cut is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the next one. So what we can do is just go into our little index here in the bottom right, and we can select the first one, and we can hit delete on that. And that way we are only left with the second one, and that will give us just a clean cut right there. So it'd be good to analyze your entire timeline here if you want. Most of the time, you know, if these green lines are at the top, that means DaVinci's pretty confident with it and it's probably right. So once that's done, we can go down here to the bottom right and simply just press Add Cuts to Media Pool. Now we can see everything was added behind this interface here. So let's just close this. And now we have each one of our clips from that finished clip imported as their own clip, which is so awesome. Now what we could do is take all of this stuff, drag it into its own timeline, and we're back where we started. You know, we have our finalized video, but now each of the clips are their own separate isolated clip, and we can make position, scale, you know, individual adjustments to each one of these clips without affecting the entire video. This is a great option for when you're trying to reframe your clips after you finish them. So let's say you just finished a 9:16 video, and sometimes you might not want to reformat the entire project file. You've finished the video, you have a finished piece of content. You might want to just bring it back in and do this in certain situations. If you're just trying to put out something quick, import all the clips as their own individual clips and then go this route. So one thing to note is that the media tab is not the only place that we have the ability to use scene cut detection. We can also do this later on in the edit tab as well, which we'll be learning about later on. But the media tab is a great place to actually do this and sort out your media in this way. So that's scene cut detection. It saved me a ton of time in my editing workflow, and I guarantee you it'll save you a lot of time. So I highly recommend that you start implementing this into your workflow.